Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of an incredible talk show brought to you by the Indian Football Portal. Today we have with us a very special guest. He is one of the greatest Indian footballers who was the former captain of Indian national team. He had over 100 international appearances and he is one of the first Indians to sign with an European club. He is also the only Indian to win the Golden Boot at an international competition and he is the first Indian to have a stadium named after him. So I present to you Mr. Bhaichung Bhutia. Hello sir, how are you?
Good. Thank you. Fine. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you over here, sir. It's like a fanboy moment for me. How's the lockdown treating you?
Lockdown has been good. I've come to Mumbai now. We're doing the Champions Cup, European Cup, which is going to start from 11th with Sony. So I've just come to Mumbai. So I'm in quarantine for a few days.
Okay, that's good. Doing well over here as well. So I would just like to hand it over to Ryan now to continue with the interview. Okay, Ryan, over to you.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you for the fantastic introduction. So everybody knows Mr. Bhaichung Bhutia as the superstar player. But Bhaichung Bhai, if we had to go into your history of when nobody knew you as a child, you were born into a family of farmers in Tinkitam, South Sikkim. Can you enlighten us on what your childhood was like?
My childhood was more of boarding school days because, I was put into boarding school at the age of 5. But growing up in Sikkim and in my village in Tinkitam during the vacation time was amazing. The only thing I did throughout my childhood was play football, whether in boarding school or whether during my vacation in my village. I just wanted one ball made out of anything. If my dad my dad sometimes bought a football, but if there was no football, we made balls through different means, through socks, through different fruits in the villages, in any means to just play football. So it was only about football.
Okay, that shows the passion, that shows the drive. And now I'd like to state a fact. So many people believe that Mohammad Salim was the first Indian to play professionally in a foreign country abroad, playing for Celtic. But the fact is that he did not sign a professional contract, whereas you did. So that makes you the first Indian to ever play in Europe. And to add to that, you have not just played in England, you have also played in the Malaysian league. And it's not that you have gone there and been one of the players. You have actually gone there and had a tremendous goal scoring record. So what was it like to adapt to a completely new culture in a foreign league?
For me, England was very, very difficult because mostly it was the culture, the lifestyle, and obviously the weather, because I was playing in India where I was living in Calcutta, and the weather is very, very different what you have in India and then when you go back in England. So the biggest challenge obviously was the weather and the culture. It was quite a lonely kind of a thing. And when you're not very happy and you're just all alone far away, then it becomes quite difficult to get that happiness into the pitch as well. So I joined the club Berry when I signed them. I was waiting for my work permit. So I joined them in mid-season where it was all about catching up with the team, with the fitness, with the team tactical strategy to everything. So that entire season just went off just trying to catch up. And by the time I caught and got into the fitness, the season was almost over, but I managed to get some games. I scored 3-4 goals in my first season as well. But the biggest setback was the manager who signed me, Neil Warnock. He left Bury and went on to work for Sheffield United. So that was a big setback. But overall, I think England was an eye-opening experience for me, because when you talk of football, it's only few countries where every footballer in the world want to go and play: England, Italy, Spain, Germany. So it's similar to what every cricketer want to come and play in India, IPL, or or come and play with the Indian team in India to get that experience, atmosphere, and the kind of fan following other cricketers get in India as well. So England is like that in terms of football. But yeah, it was very, very challenging. At the same time, I think it was something which I managed to learn a lot of things about football, just not on the field, but off the field as well.
You've definitely had some challenges, but that did not stop you from scoring goals. So that says a lot about the quality. Now, coming back to India, you played for a couple of seasons with JCT, but apart from that, you have played in Kolkata in all your I League Indian club football life for either East Bengal or for Mohun Bagan. What made you stay in Kolkata for your entire I League career? And what did you ever think of signing for a club at another city like Goa or Kerala or Mumbai, for example?
I think Calcutta, because the atmosphere uh, and the acceptance of me as a young footballer when I first came in '93 by East Bengal fans made me feel at home. And that was very, very important because you're playing in one of the biggest club in India. And when you come and start playing from the first match, you have a great game, you have a great debut, and then fans starts accepting you and loving you. And that's where you feel more comfortable and you don't want to really move into other clubs, including clubs in Calcutta as well, till you finally feel that you're settled down and you're looked as one of the important players in Indian football scenario. So that was very, very important for me. Later on, I think I did have a lot of offers from other clubs. In between, I went to JCT and played for a year there. Goa, yes, I had offers in Goa to come and play. Initially by Churchill brothers, because I had my friends playing there, including Samatai Saiza, who was a very close friend. We grew up together playing. But as East Bengal player, I used to come and play in Goa. And we used to meet as friends with the Churchill brothers player. And Churchill brothers did offer me. And I went to see the training ground. And the training ground was so shocking, so shocking. I said, no team can play or train in this, especially a club like Churchill who are playing in I League, training in such horrible condition. So that was one of the biggest thing that really upset me, to come and play with Churchill, because that was the only club I thought I would want to come and play in Goa at that moment. So that now obviously Churchill has got wonderful facilities, but I'm talking of when I League started in 97 and before that as well, 96. So that was one of the reason why, the ground was one of the major factor which did not really give me that confidence to come and sign for Churchill. But apart from that, I was enjoying my football in Calcutta, and that's how I stayed. But something which I always wanted was to have that experience in playing in Goa, because I always thought I would want to play in Goa. But that's something which I would regret throughout the rest of my life, that I did not play in Goa.
Well, that shows your professionalism. I mean, someone who wanted to go to play in Goa so badly would look at the contract and maybe make a decision, but you didn't. It says a lot. And you made your debut as a 19-year-old young striker. And then rest is history. You went on to become the greatest player India ever had, became the captain, you became the poster boy of Indian football. How would you describe your national team journey?
I think it's been great because, again, it's like my journey with East Bengal. I started in a great note, and with national team also, it went into a great, great note, because till the time I was playing for club, I was playing as an attacking midfielder, and Rustam Agramov came into the national team coach, and he selected me seeing Santosh Trophy in Chennai. And I was not a starting 11 player for Bengal when I played for Santosh Trophy, but I scored that very important golden goal which gave Bengal the trophy, Santosh Trophy. And Rustam Agramov called me and said that he wanted me to play in striker position from the attacking midfield, which I was very happy. But the biggest shock for me was that my idol, my hero, I am Vijayan, was dropped from the national team when I made my debut, which was very, very shocking, because we were playing both together for Bengal team. And he had a great Santosh Trophy along with me. But he was dropped from the striker, in fact, dropped from the national team, which was a bit shocking. So, but my journey as a striker started then, because till then I was just enjoying playing midfield. And I was actually more happy creating goals for other players to score. And I've always admired that because I grew up watching Maradona, and Maradona, 86 World Cup, single-handedly won the World Cup. But more than that, what was great about Maradona was he used to create those chances for others to score. And that was always in my mind that I would want to be like Maradona, have that skill, but at the same time create that opportunity for other player to score and make your team win. So that's how I was playing as an attacking midfield.
Okay, that was how your journey happened. And you have been the captain and you have made over 100 appearances. Now, when we talk about pressure, one kind of pressure is playing for your club, having fans of that club demanding, having certain expectations. How does it feel carrying the weight of an entire nation on your shoulders? Because the moment at that time, the moment India was playing, it was Bhaichung Bhutia. It was more like the other 10 players were just supporting. So how did that feel?
No, it was definitely a big pressure, especially when you're playing against a very good footballing side like Japan, Saudi, South Korea. And we were not a strong team. We knew that. And, Japan, South Korea, those days were some of the best teams in the world. In fact, 2002, Japan, South Korea went on to semi-finals and did a great job in the World Cup. So the standard of football, then what Japan, South Korea, including Iran and Saudi Arabia was playing was very, very high compared to what I see right now. I'm not talking of Japan, but a lot of other countries. So, it was always under pressure because obviously we had to just go there and make sure that we defend well. Because when you're playing a good country, when you're playing a nation which is very, very good in football, I think around the world, it's the same funda. Today, if any Southampton or a Sheffield United in the Premier League is going to go and play Manchester City in Etihad, the first thing is to defend and keep it tight. And you don't want to be, arrogant to say that we want to score and play open football with the teams like that. And that is the tactical part of any football team and the strength you have. So for us, I think going and playing bigger countries was always about defending, keeping it tight. So that pressure of, having that respectable scoreline was quite a big for us that time, and we had to accept. And I accept that we were not a good team. And even today, when recently India just played Qatar a few days ago, people would, I saw a lot of comments: "We're not passing, we're not keeping it, we didn't attack." But when you are not as strong as a footballing team, and you're playing a team which is the best in Asia right now, Qatar, and you're playing away, you're bound to go defensively and defend. So there's nothing wrong at it. And all the entire teams and all the players and all the big coaches does that. So, it's a tactical thing. So for us, I think those kind of pressures were there. But it was great. At the end of the day, when you have a team which is very good in dressing room, where you have a strong team bonding, when you have great players who are just not players, but who are great friends as well. And then you work under a great coach, then it becomes kind of a family, and you want to play and do everything for your team to do well, despite you have good result, bad result. But at the end, I think we felt that as a team, we are going to give everything what we have on the field. And most of the time, I think we did that. But the pressure obviously for leading Indian team is huge because, all the football fans in India expect India to do well, including us as a player want to do well. But sometimes we have to accept that we are still a developing country in terms of football. So till then, I think, it's going to be a very challenging task.
Despite being underdogs at international level, your goal scoring record was still decent. Now, this brings us to the next question. We interviewed Gauramangi Singh before this, and he said that you have been when we asked him who was the toughest player he's ever faced, he said, Bhai. And the reason was that he said he could never, that people could not stop you. They couldn't stop your movement, couldn't stop your scoring. And you were a tremendous goal scorer. That's what got you the title of Sikkimese sniper. How did you develop such a lethal finishing in your game?
No, I think it's with strikers, obviously, a lot is got to do with how you work and how you get into right places. But uh, it also comes with a natural kind of talent, natural kind of reading the game, natural strikers to get into right position to score. But first, I think striker, the best and the most important thing is that smell of getting into the right positions and taking those gambles to run into right positions to score goals. Is the most important thing. And today, if you look at some of the best players around the world, best strikers around the world, one thing that you'll see common is they get into the right position at the right time, and it's not luck. It's the sense which you develop, and that either you got it or you don't get it. And a lot of players have it, but they might not be able to use it. But with slowly with experience, a lot of players start developing it. So for me, I think one of the biggest gift which I had was taking those gambles, reading those situations, getting to the right positions, and making those calculations very, very early compared to the defenders. So I think that was one of the reason. And all the strikers around the world would agree that you got to have that sense of getting into the right positions.
Okay, so that's anticipation is definitely key for any striker, and not too many people better. When we talk about you, we usually try and think of India, but not many people know that nearly 2 decades ago, you had traveled with an East Bengal team to play the LG ASEAN Cup. It was a very unlikely result. An Indian team, being East Bengal, actually went and won that tournament. And what made it even more special was that you won the Golden Boot. So, do you have any memories of that tournament?
I think it's definitely one of the best memories I have is from ASEAN Cup because the way we got the reception when you got back to Calcutta by our East Bengal fans was amazing. The entire journey for ASEAN Cup was great because the preparation was very good. We in fact never prepared before ASEAN in a way which we did, and I think Subhas Bhumik has to be given a lot of credit because we had he had clear focus was to go and win ASEAN, and I think those days the Indian clubs was just changing to become uh, semi-professional. I won't say professional as well. When we hired first fitness trainer from Australia, when Subhas Bhumik hired, it became a entire national news kind of a thing that East Bengal is brought in fitness trainer to train the players. So those kind of things, and it did make a big impact because our preparation for the ASEAN Cup was very good. We were fit and we were just waiting and wanting to go and just play, and that's what I think the preparation what we did for ASEAN really helped us win the tournament.
Yeah, it's one achievement for an Indian team to win, and an even bigger achievement for an Indian to win a Golden Boot in that tournament. Now, talking about international tournaments, in fact, international football, you have also played a charity match for Zidane 11 for the Haiti the disaster. You played along with Zidane, Kaká, Henry, Figo, Robert Pires, Dani Alves, and Kluivert. What was the experience like playing with players of such high magnitude?
Oh, I think it was crazy because I went into dressing room and I was changing and I'm like, I was really thinking, is it really real? Because I'm changing in a dressing room and I'm looking at the right, Kaka is sitting beside me. You've got Patrick Kluivert just there. You've got, Zidane just opposite. Barte is there. Some of the biggest players in world. And you always imagine you want to be in the dressing room changing and getting ready to play every weekend match with some of these players. And here I was obviously for an exhibition match, but just that being in that dressing room more than on the field, just that dressing room and looking everywhere and like some of the biggest names of world football, you're in the same dressing room and changing was I think a great experience, which initially obviously for a player going from India, I don't you don't really believe, is this real kind of a thing. But I think that dressing room experience was much more, something which you tend to remember more than on the field thing.
So you can now imagine when a young player signs for East Bengal and Mohun Bagan and they sit in the dressing room next to Bhaichung Bhutia. What the
Absolutely.
feeling. So now this was not your interaction with some of the biggest stars of world football did not end here. In your testimonial match for India, you played against Bayern Munich, and it wasn't like they brought a second team. They brought their fully loaded key players to play against India. What was it like sharing a pitch with players, with those kind of players?
I think it was a great honor for me when a club like Bayern Munich, which that particular year they went on to win Champions League, they went on to win, the Bundesliga in Germany as well. The only thing I regret was I wasn't at my 100%, fit, because I could not play Asian Cup, which just ended few months ago because of injury. I just played last 20 minutes against South Korea, and I was just recovering from injury, and my fitness was also in a place where I was trying to catch up. And this offer came in to play my farewell match by Audi against Bayern Munich, and which I was obviously very, very happy and excited. But at the same time, very, very scared. You're playing Bayern Munich in Delhi, in India, in front of your home crowd, your farewell match. You first thing is, what the hell is going to be? The match, is it going to be a disaster for us? Because you're playing the best in the world, best club. So that fear was there. It's just that I managed to work hard to get fit as much as I could during that time. But I would have been very, very happy if I was 100% fit. And the national team also had all the players, because Sunil was injured. He did not play that match. Renedy Singh was again injured. So did not really get the team that went to play Asia Cup to play my farewell match, which was one unfortunate thing. But very, very happy that club like Bayern Munich came and played a farewell match for me. And that is the best way for any footballer in India or in the world to sign off.
These are some tremendous memories that can never be bought, they can only be earned. So we have understood about Bhaichung Bhutia, the player. We have got a lot of insight on that. Now, there is a problem that exists in world football, that there are players who are the biggest stars, but then once they retire, they don't do too much. Whereas you are not one of them. After retiring, you have done a lot of fantastic things, and now we are going to try and get to know a bit more of those, all those areas. So you had started, in fact, you're the only player that I know who has played in the I-League and then gone on to own a team in the I-League, through which is United Sikkim Football Club. At United Sikkim, you were doing great things. You brought in Ryder as a coach. You gave chances to some lot of young Sikkimese players and all that. Unfortunately, the team had to shut down, but the latest news is that it's coming back. What is it like to own a professional club? And now that you're reviving that club, what are your plans with it?
In fact, I knew exactly I would retire in 2010 and in December after Asia Cup. And, I knew that is going to be my end, and I would announce the retirement. It's just that it did not go according to my plan, because I could not play much in Asia Cup. I thought I would be playing most of the matches and would not be injured, and I would be playing, and I would announce my retirement after that. So knowing that, I had obviously, as a player, you plan your future ahead of post-retirement as well. And I knew exactly I wanted to do grassroots football with Bhaichung Bhutia football schools. I wanted to start some kind of grassroots football, which I did. At the same time, when we were playing and training in Dubai, met a couple of my friends who thought, would start United Sikkim and start a club professionally where we can make a club into a bigger one. So that was the plan which we made it. In fact, I think there's a record which is, I don't think if All India Football Federation has actually kept that record. I've been I've been a footballer. I think there's no one in the world that has got my record, which I feel I'm proud of at the same time. Being a player for your own club, owner of a club, player plus coaching the club. Because when we sacked Ryder for the next 4 matches, I was coaching the team because we had to replace Ryder, so we couldn't find immediately another coach. So next 4 matches, I was coaching the team. So in fact, I was on the pitch playing as a player. I was owner of the team and I was coach. So three hats I was donning, which I don't think any player in the world would do that, playing in the highest league of their country. But I think United Sikkim, yes, was a great, again, experience, at the same time challenge. We managed to take the club within a year to I-League when we had small investors and small sponsors. But after that, I think the sponsors dried out. It was quite challenging. When you don't have money, then you don't get good players. When you don't have good players, you don't get good results. And when you don't get good results, you relegate. And that's what it happened. So we're trying to revive now. But obviously, one of the biggest challenges for any club in India is the sponsors. So we're trying to work on that, but we are doing it slowly. Though the club, after not playing I-League, we've been alive in Sikkim, in our region in Northeast. We've been state league champions for 5-6 times. We've been playing a lot of major tournaments across that region, and we've been able to provide some good talent from Sikkim, Darjeeling, that area, and giving it to clubs across different clubs in India. So we've been active, but it's just that we've not been playing in the highest level, and which slowly now we are thinking of coming back and starting with I-League qualifiers.
Okay, so there are big plans for sure, and I'm sure they're going to happen. Just for the viewers' information, Sandesh Jhingan he was given a break through United Sikkim. So that shows the scouting. Now the likes of you, Sanju Pradhan, Nirmal Chhetri and Vikas Jairu have represented the country from Sikkim. What is the scope of more players from Sikkim going on to represent the national team?
No, I think we will keep producing players, not in big numbers like Manipur, Mizoram, or Bengal, Kerala, or Goa, but we will keep producing 1 or 2 good quality players, and which we've been doing over the years now. So yes, United Sikkim Football Club is one of the platforms where a lot of players in that region can utilize it, and they've utilized that. As you mentioned, Sandesh Jhingan was a 17-year-old boy when he first came in, and we signed him, stayed with us for 5 years, played second division I-League, and then went on to play for India through United Sikkim. So there are a lot of other players. Devjit Majumdar was again one of such players. He got his first break to play into I-League with United Sikkim, and quite a few players. So I'm hoping that Sikkim would continue. Obviously, we've got to do much more than what we've been doing, because if a state like Mizoram can produce that many quality footballers, I'm sure Sikkim can do that. And we need as a state association to work much harder and make sure that we have more talent coming out from Sikkim, because Sikkim is a completely footballing state. So we expect to produce more players than what we've been doing.
Brilliant. We hope that, I'm definitely sure that's going to happen as well. Now, as you have gone into coaching as well, you have completed your AFCC certificate. Do you plan on going on to the next level? And also, what are your plans as a coach?
I'm not really planning to get into coaching as such. I've done my C license. I wanted to do B, but I could not really get time because I've been doing a lot of other things apart from football. And I wanted to do a lot of other things apart from football, because 35, 40 years, when you've done only one thing, play football, rest of your life, you want to try something else as well, which I am passionate about and which I love to do things. So I'm into, other things apart from football, where I'm still busy and occupied with football, with my football schools and with the United Sikkim Football Club. But there are other things which I would want to try and which I'm doing right now. But coaching is something which is very, very challenging, which is very difficult. I think if you are going to be a coach, then just not morning and evening training session. It's 24 hours. You have to be focused on that. You've got to watch, analyze other teams, work on your team, work on strength at each and every individual player, work on the formation, tactical point. So there's a lot of work, research to be done, and you've got to dedicate completely into being a coach. That I think I'm not yet ready, but in future maybe I could get into professional coaching. That I'm not too sure, but I don't think I've been able to give that time to do my coaching course plus get into coaching.
Fair enough. At least you have explored the avenue and you have still been a coach of United Sikkim. So that's a good experience. Now let's talk about from a business perspective. You have established arguably the most successful football academy business model in the country in the form of Bhaichung Bhutia football schools. What is the secret to the success?
See, I think secret to the success is I had a good team, good partners to work with. Obviously, that itself does not really get you success. You need to have a plan. You need to have idea, which was very, very important. We initially had football schools tied up with different schools or different institutions to have the centers. But now we've gone into having our own residential academy, which I felt was very, very important. So I had told a few years ago that we need to have our own residential academy for generating players, and also in terms of business model, to also in terms of getting good quality players. Your own residential academy is important, and we've had one residential academy in Gurgaon for the last 3 years. From this year, I think we've expanded to Bombay, Bangalore. We've got another 4 more residential academy, one in South in Kerala, Calicut. So I think through that model, we'll be able to provide good quality training. At the same time, we also give scholarship to highly talented kids free of cost, which is 20% of our residential academy or centers, wherever we can have kids who are talented, who can afford to pay, are given full scholarship. And with limited resources, with limited revenue, we in fact have gone on to produce 6 players that went on to play for India in different age group. And if you compare with some of the academies, some of the clubs who spent millions and crores of rupees, we've managed to produce 6 players just at, not even half, maybe 20% of their cost. So that way, I think we've been very lucky and very successful. But yes, we want to make sure that a lot of talented kids across the country, we give that opportunity and they go on to play for country and to make a career out of being a footballer.
You stayed true to your passion. You have ensured that it's a sustainable model, but you're also serving the nation by generating players. That's beautiful. Now you have played, coached, and owned a team in the ISL. You have also held an advisory in the I League. I'm so sorry, in the I League, and you have also held an advisory position in the ISL. You're the best person to ask. How much of an impact do you think the launch of the Indian Super League has had on developing Indian football in comparison to the I League?
I think Indian Super League is very, very important for Indian football, because what it does is it gives hope for a lot of young footballers to become professional footballer. It gives hope for a lot of parents to encourage their kids to go on to become a footballer and make a career. That is very, very important. If you don't see a great career and you don't see a good life or good salary playing football, then as a parent, not many parents would encourage a young kid to go on to football. And young players as well, obviously they play for passion, which is very, very important. But once they reach certain age, it's important they need to have their livelihood, managed by playing football, and they need to have a decent livelihood. So ISL, I think, has brought that. It's also brought Indian football to people across India to watch it. With that, I think there will be stars, there will be names of Indian footballers reaching out to all the football fans across India, which is very, very important. It generates a lot of interest of Indian football to footballers in different parts of the country, which is very, very important. So ISL definitely is important for to Indian football. Yes, I'm not saying it's perfect. It needs to do much more than what it's been doing, but you need to have a strong league. You need to have a league, uh, that can inspire a lot of young players to want to play in the league. But at the same time, ISL has got a lot of room for improvement, and I'm sure with each year passing, they will also change and make it much more interesting, much more uh, friendly for footballers in India to come and go on to compete and become the best footballers in India.
And the ISL had a statistic of being the fourth most viewed league in the world. If you had to rewind your life, would you have wanted to prolong your career by a few years so that you could have at least played a season, in the ISL and experienced it?
No, if it had happened in during my peak years, then I would have loved it. So I was fortunate to play I League, which started during my peak year days when I was in my great form. So I League happened, and I went to sign with JCT and played with some of the best players alongside, and had a big impact. So every generation will have different opportunities, different. The league, the football will evolve, and it is important that you need to make impact when it evolves. So it is the right time as a player as well. There are opportunities you need to make that opportunities count, and which I think I've been lucky in that way to make those opportunities count. So it's like that when you have a European Cup which is coming up now, somebody will have to make an impact and score that important goal to win, to make sure that your team wins the European Cup. So that impact is going to be, the platform you get, but you need to make that impact. So I've had that impact. I think now ISL is coming, some other players has made an impact, and I'm sure ISL will evolve. And as that interest and attention is there, that is the time when the players will have to make and grab that opportunity.
Okay. And now talking about the national team. After Mr. I am Vijayan, you were the person to take Indian football forward, and you did a brilliant job of it. And while you were just nearing retirement, everybody knew that Sunil Chhetri is going to now take that burden to then carry Indian football forward. But now, if we notice, Sunil Chhetri is not at an age where he's going to continue forever, but there's no clear indication of who's going to be the next person after him. What are your thoughts on that, and what are your thoughts on the national team setup?
No, I think right now I've been watching national team play for a few years now under Igor. And the good thing about national team is they're playing as a team, which is I think a very, very important factor. And I played in national team during my days where you only relied on one or two players. But right now, I think it's great to see that it's a nice team effort that plays, and it's effort by each and every individual player on the pitch, giving everything uh, on it. Whether you win or lose, but you can see that the kind of commitment they have is fantastic as a team, and they played some good football, no doubt about it. Yes, apart from Sunil Chhetri, now I think he's also in an age where he's going to not play for long for India. So that has been a big challenge. But there are few players which lately has been doing well. I think one of them was this tall striker who just played
Manveer.
Manveer. Sorry, Manveer. I think he looks very, very promising. It's unfortunate that Manveer did not have that kind of opportunity to have played or given that chance to play with Sunil Chhetri from 3-4 years ago. I think if he had been playing regularly with what they played last match, I think Manveer could have made a big impact there to replace Sunil Chhetri as a striker. He looks very, very talented. He's got speed. He's got that physique of a striker. So I think a few more matches, few more years. Yeah, I feel that he can. It's just that he'll have to work a little bit on scoring goals more because He's done well with ISL this year, but it's important when you replace and get into the shoes of Sunil Chhetri, you need to score goals, just not play good football. The goals are important as well.
You made a fantastic observation about how India is playing as a team now instead of relying on one or two players. You're continuing with the national team now. You've had a truly amazing, phenomenal journey in football. Can you share some of your best memories throughout this amazing career?
I think my best memory would be one was we just spoke Asian Cup, winning Asian Cup. Another one was a derby, East Bengal Mohun Bagan match with 140,000 crowd. That was my first hat trick for in a derby. The best for the national team was obviously qualifying for the Asia Cup, winning AFC challenges in Delhi. Uh, this was something which, as a player, we always dream of playing either World Cup or Asia Cup, not even Olympics. But these are the two biggest tournament for any footballer to play play if you're a footballer in India, to play Asia Cup and World Cup. So at least we managed to qualify for the Asia Cup after 24 years was a big achievement.
Brilliant achievement. And throughout your journey, has there been anyone who has been influential, anyone who has helped you in your career?
I think everyone who I worked with, every coaches, there's something you always learn from the coaches, either good or bad. You learn. If you've not worked with so much great, not a good coach technically, you learn that you don't work with those kind of coaches. You don't do that kind of mistakes. So every coach, good or bad, you learn from him. And there have been again football stars from my hometown to the world stars that have inspired me. As I said, Maradona starting was Maradona. Then after that, we had Roberto Baggio, which was one of the biggest inspiration for me. And then came in Romario, Ronaldo. So there have been players which has gone on to inspire.
Okay. And now this is more of to get your advice. You're a superhero to many young budding footballers. What would your advice be to them to achieve what you have achieved?
I think play football with passion, play football with love. Don't play to become Messi, Sunil Chhetri or Ronaldo or earn money. You need to play, you need to love it. If you can do that, I think you're bound to do everything. Work hard to sacrifice everything for the game. So football has to come from the heart. You need to have a passion and love for it.
All about the passion. Now we are going to do one quick round, one quick fun rapid fire round where you can just give one answer. Okay. So let's start this off. So who was your childhood hero?
Maradona.
Best player you have played alongside, teammate.
Um, I would say I am Vijayan and Sunil Chhetri, two of them.
Best player you have played against.
So bad. Jose Ramis Barreto.
Okay. Best coach you have worked with.
I've worked with Bob Houghton.
Your favorite Indian and foreign club.
Indian would be East Bengal and United Sikkim. Foreign club would be Arsenal.
Okay. And one particular match you remember the most?
Is East Bengal Mohun Bagan derby with 140,000 crowd.
What an atmosphere. Your best hobby outside football.
I think spending time with friends and family.
Okay, this was a wonderful interview, Bhaichung Bhai. It was a great insight. Good to get an insight from one of the best players India has ever produced, and this is going to be a super hit for every budding footballer, coach, anyone involved in Indian football. So thank you from my side, Bhaichung Bhai. I'm going to transfer it to Achis, who has one last question, and then we end from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so Bhaichung Bhai, just like me, all the other fans are curious about what their superstar idols are up to. So we would like to know what are your future plans?
My future plans are, I think, peace of mind and just being happy with whatever I'm doing. So yeah, I think that's trying to stay happy.
Amazing answer. Okay, so Bhaichung bhai, thanks a lot for attending this interview. Me and the
Welcome.
entire football portal team is honored to have you over here, and we hope to have a chat with you soon. And thank you, Ryan, for conducting this interview. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All the best.